Has Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra gone all wrong? The yatra has been mired in a series of controversies, and the BJP is now targeting Mr. Gandhi for his comments made twice about actor Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo story. Well, tutu meme in politics and in the spat between the Congress and the BJP ahead of elections 2024 is nothing new. But in the last 2 days, comments made by Rahul Gandhi during his Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0 as it passes through Uttar Pradesh has given the BJP a whole lot of ammunition. Remember, this yatra has already irked other allies of the India alliance, leaders like Mamata Banerjee, that have objected to the yatra traveling through Bengal without seeking any sort of discussion with her. There are others who have passed comments on why this yatra was needed right now at all. But now there are actual controversies emerging from comments made by Rahul Gandhi during the yatra, including two comments about actor Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, made rhetorically to make a larger point, but the BJP has seized these remarks. And another speech in which Mr. Gandhi seems to be targeting a reporter, demanding to know who the owner/promoter is of his network. To talk about whether this is now a yatra that has done more harm than good to Mr. Gandhi and what to make of his recent public utterances, let's introduce our guest on the program this evening. First up is Jaya Jetli. Ms. Jetli is a woman of many avatars. She has in the past been the leader of the Samata Party. She is, of course, now devoting much of her time to crafts and rights of workers and is always a trenchant commentator. It's good to have you with us, Ms. Jetli, after a long time. Dilip Cherian, who knows everything there is to know about the insides of the corridors of power, is with us. He's also the country's foremost expert on messaging and branding, and I wonder what he has to say about how brand Rahul is going in this leg of the yatra. Sandeep Ghosh, a political analyst whom I always introduce as a supporter of the Prime Minister with caveats and always therefore has the capacity to surprise with his analysis, is back with us. Welcome. And Tehseen Poonawala, never say die supporter of the Congress party, and I should actually say of the Gandhi family, because he's more willing to criticize the party than he is the Gandhis. Will he still support what Rahul Gandhi has been up to in this leg of the yatra? We'll find out. I'm going to start by playing out a rather curious clip. I don't know what other word to use for it, where Rahul Gandhi is clearly trying to make some point about the trivialization of news media. And the way he chooses to do that is rather peculiar. This is the second time during the Bharat Jodo Yatra that he's made a point about Aishwarya Rai. The first time he mentioned her being at the Ram Mandir ceremony, which she was not present at all. And now he's talking about the Bachchans being on media and the media not really showing you what's actually happening in the country. Take a look.
कभी कहेंगे उधर देखो भैया अमिताभ बच्चन नाच रहा है, वो देखो भैया उसके साथ ऐश्वर्या राय नाच रही है. आप लोग इधर उधर देखोगे, ओ हाँ भैया वहां पे पाकिस्तान में बड़ा प्रॉब्लम, ओ भैया देखो चाइना में ये हो रहा है, ओ देखो भैया ऐश्वर्या राय नाच गई. मीडिया में आपको यही दिखेगा. 73% की मीडिया में बात नहीं होगी, मजदूरों की बात नहीं होगी, किसानों की बात नहीं होगी. और 24 आज का युवा नशे में, मैंने वहां देखा, बनारस में देखा, सड़क पे देखा. नहीं तो अगर शराब नहीं पी रहा तो फिर इस मोबाइल फोन पे 7-8 घंटा भैया वीडियो देखता रहता है, एक दूसरे को भेजता रहता है.
वो देखो ऐश्वर्या राय नाच रही है. He makes those comments twice. The Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani says these are sexist comments. That's what a number of the BJP leaders are also saying. Jaya Jetli, do you find the language problematic? He's obviously trying to make some other point, but he's deploying language that is completely possibly counterproductive. Ma'am, I'll start with you.
Well, I think there are 2 points to all his speeches. And one is that he tends to trivialize every matter. And I wish he wouldn't do that, because what we do want in opposition speeches is a good parallel narrative of what the country should be like. the country is bound to have movie stars. They're bound to do dances in Bollywood. All these people, especially Aishwarya Rai or Amitabh Bachchan, have made a huge name for themselves all over the world. You will say their name, and people in streets in Egypt or anywhere else will go chasing after you to see whether you know them or you've seen them ever up face. So when we have this kind of what we call soft power now, the strength of Bollywood, then to undermine it by putting it into a political speech is, I believe, a waste of time. Whether it's Aishwarya one day or somebody else another day, Amitabh Bachchan is the voice of so much. And he also, I mean, look at Kaun Banega Crorepati and all. How many millions of people watch it? These are public, popular figures. On the cricket page, there'll be Sachin or whoever, Virat Kohli. On the front page, there will be farmers' agitations, there will be trade union marches. Everything has its place. And if he's trying to see everything through one lens, the public are going to be very puzzled. I agree with him on this thing that all the youth are only watching the phones, but that's their wish, isn't it? What is his solution? That they shouldn't get phones or they should be better occupied. But if he's telling them they're better occupied, what's the voter going to do? The voter's not voting for those poor fellows who are looking at their phones.
Did you find the comments, and then I'll come to Dilip. Did you find the comments disparaging personally about Aishwarya Rai and Amitabh Bachchan? That's the spin, of course, the BJP and
Well,
BJP
yeah,
supporters have put on it.
he's taken the topmost figures that come to everybody's minds, and
Yeah.
by disparaging them, he's disparaging the whole industry of India's filmmaking, and he's disparaging popular figures. It's like in the USA, if you go shouting against Tom Cruise being, flying through the air somewhere, what's the point? It doesn't have any relevance to politics. What is he saying? That they should not be wherever they are? He's saying that they were, what were they doing? Were they at Ram Mandir? Aishwarya Rai, as you said, wasn't. So he's getting it all mixed up, and I think he doesn't have anything very solid to say. Sonia
Yeah.
Gandhi also descended to Gali unless somebody wrote her a speech. He is too entitled and too arrogant to think he can do with speech writers who will do something solid. So he just lets fly at whoever's making him angry because he's not gaining traction in politics. So I don't think it's doing him or the party any good.
That's a very interesting thought, that he's actually coming across as angry, as someone frustrated because he's not able to make an impact. But the Tom Cruise reference makes me wonder, Dilip, whether it's Rahul Gandhi who's the real maverick when it comes to Indian politics. The play, of course, on Tom Cruise's name in Top Gun, for anyone who missed that. Culture wars are not new to politics. BJP supporters have in the past targeted movie stars as well, but they've been supporters. It's been rare to see someone at the stature or the equivalent stature in the BJP of Rahul Gandhi personally naming two film stars meant as a barb, even if to make a rhetorical point. And when you use a word like वो देखो ऐश्वर्या राय नाचती हुई दिखती है, it is going to be seen as language that is somehow being used in a derogatory way for a woman. Rahul Gandhi is trying to make some completely different point about news media and probably falling on his face. I don't know what Tehseen will say as a supporter, but what do you say, Dilip?
I think that essentially Rahul Gandhi needs to have someone do what is called a factoid check. You know, he does make mistakes like this too often to be forgiven or permitted to do that. Factoid checks as opposed to fact checks. What he may be saying is factual, but the factoid is wrongly chosen. The second thing I think is I go with Jaya's point that there is this element of frustration showing through. From an imagery point of view, that is absolutely disadvantageous to what his mission is. He cannot sound frustrated and he cannot start attacking the the institutions of Bollywood. And also, don't forget that who he has named, though they may be important and primary, are essentially fading stars. So it is not even contemporary for the kind of audience that he should be attempting to reach. Now, as far as the attack on him is concerned,
you mean you even find the choice of the actor's name problematic, even for the
Totally.
point he was trying to make?
I think that's my real problem. You've got to either inject humor into this or inject a certain level of what I call youth appeal into what you're saying. This is just the wrong choice. This is just the wrong approach. And anger is certainly the wrong emotion to have on display. He should, there's lots of things to criticize. And what he's talking about is the ability of any government to be able to distract from the issues at hand. But the job of an opposition is to dramatically bring those issues into the public dimension, into the public discussion area. And there, I think that he's not doing the job that is expected of him. That is my problem. My problem is wrong factoids, too much emotion, and inability to bring through the issues that really matter.
So let me take this with Tehseen. If we can please go back to our panel there, Tehseen. Even for somebody who's constantly reaffirming faith in the Gandhi family, what would you say today? Like, you heard that clip. I'm sure you've heard it many times over. What do you say? Tehseen, are you there?
Yeah. I was
Go
asking
ahead.
your team to unmute me. So thank you so much for having me on the show. And you're right, I'm a complete supporter of the Gandhi family, and I do defend them. But as somebody who desperately wants to see Rahul Gandhi do very well, what I am going to resist from doing is suck up, and I'm using this word deliberately because Dilip said youngsters, and a lot of youngsters watch this, suck up to the powers that be and say all is well and this is brilliant. It's not. It's not. And we got to wake up and smell the coffee, because my aim is to defeat the BJP. And I want Mr. Gandhi to lead that charge. And this isn't getting traction. One, as John F. Kennedy said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's very, very important. Two, Mr. Gandhi is making some very, very valid points. He's making points about lack of representation in media, which is very valid. He's making points about distraction that the government creates, therefore creating communal problems, taking away from issues that the government needs to be captured on. But the questions, or those questions that need to be raised, cannot be raised in the manner that Mr. Gandhi is raising it. And I'm saying this coming from a space of goodwill towards him, wanting him to succeed and do well, because he's a well-meaning guy. I found it very curious, Barkha, that you used the word stature. It's something I used in my podcast with you, and you grilled me over it. You said, what do you mean? And you ended up using the same word. And that's precisely what I mean, that there is a certain amount of aura that Mr. Gandhi or the Gandhi family carries. When Mr. Gandhi speaks like that, in the manner in which he's speaking, there are two problematic areas. One, he's not connecting with his voters. Yes, he's getting the retweets. Yes, he's getting the claps, but that is already the converted. They will tell Mr. Gandhi, nobody waves the way you're waving. They will, and these are the left loonies around him who can't win an RW election. They will tell Mr. Gandhi, the way you're wearing that.
Yeah, but nobody told him, no left loony told him to name Aishwarya Rai not once but twice.
How do you know? How do you know?
What is the obsession?
Can
we come out of these pictures? What is the obsession with Aishwarya Rai? Can you first explain that to me? What is the obsession?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him on that. But my guess is, now this is pure speculation. My guess is one of his speechwriters, and I know a few of his speechwriters, one of these JNU speechwriters may have just thought that this clicks because in his mind it clicks. It makes great JNU politics. So this has been put in. And I'm saying this from the time when Mr. Gandhi returned to Parliament, and that in the no confidence motion, when his suspension was removed on the Manipur speech, which I discussed in your podcast, which I thought could have been a game changer, because the entire country, including those we call Godi media, was waiting for Mr. Gandhi to speak. And had Mr. Gandhi spoken just on Manipur and been accurate on Manipur and absolute people, that would have been a game changer. Now, just one more point. In the history of mankind, at least in democracy, governments have fallen down with great speeches. Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Speeches change the world. And we need that more than ever. My appeal to Mr. Gandhi, and I don't come from a bad space, I come from a space where I desperately want to see him succeed, is to be calm, to be his empathetic self, to speak with clarity. Don't think in English and speak in Hindi. think in English, interpret it in Hindi, and speak. See, sometimes the interpretation, if I'll just take 30 seconds more so your viewers will answer, I won't take more than that. You're seeing stars dancing. वो नाच रही थी. So what happens is it ends up sounding crude where it's not totally bad. So what I request him to do is, okay, if in your head the word is,
I think that's an important point. Even if the sorry, I'm just saying, to pick up your last point, that even if the intent is not sexist, when you translate it or you use it in a colloquial way, it comes across as coarse. I think that's the point you're making, that the basic homework of political speech writing has not been done. But let me just
Mr. Modi, I'll just take 5 seconds more. Mr. Modi is a Gujarati speaking gentleman. He's worked extremely hard on his Hindi, extremely hard on his English. He practices. He even wears the clothes he wants to wear and practice. And that's how speeches are made. You have to work hard. You have to practice in front of the mirror. Barkha, I do that before coming on your podcast or your show or anything. You have to do it. There is I cannot come on the show, say something that's happening in my head and hope that it comes out perfectly. It doesn't work. You have to work hard, no matter how good you are. Barack Obama did that.
Okay, hang on. Now, Sandeep, just so that we actually disagree on a few things, let's argue this from the other side. Congress supporters would say the media is too harsh on Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi has become the favorite punching bag of the media. That when BJP or BJP or its supporters use similarly coarse words for women or others in public life, the media doesn't go after them. The Rahul Gandhi is a soft target. It's a done story. Okay, the Congress isn't doing well. Why are we still talking about Rahul Gandhi speeches? What would you say to that?
See, Barkha, for once, I feel totally out of depth in this discussion.
Why?
Before the show started, I asked your producer that do you have a psychiatrist on the show? I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a communication expert like Dilip, though I understand a bit of it, and certainly not a political commentator like the others. But whatever I understand from little bit of communication, I disagree respectfully with both Jayaji and Dilip. Jayaji talked of speechwriter, and Tehsil to some extent contradicted it. He probably has speech writers, but not the kind of speech writers we are used to. Or we have heard earlier Javed Akhtar writing the speeches for Sonia Gandhi and the rest of it. It's not of that. But he has a different, maybe, order of speech writing. Secondly, I also, the point which Dilip is saying, I also don't buy that this is not part of a very deliberate communication strategy. Taking Tehsil's point, look at the Congress spokespersons who come on media today. What is their level of aggression, how they come across over there? Or even people during the yatra, speaking to some journalists, the people who are speaking today, they are of a different tonality than the kind of spokespersons you used to have from Congress, whether you agreed or disagreed with them, even a couple of years back. So I think they are definitely trying to do some kind of projection, whether it's right or wrong, that here is the angry young man.
So specifically, you're disagreeing with Jaya and Dilip because you think the Congress is projecting the Amitabh Bachchan of 2024.
In a way, yeah, that is there. And when again, slightly again differing with Jayaji, if she permits me, and Dilip already said that Amitabh Bachchan is a fading star and people will attribute picking up Amitabh Bachchan's name goes back to whatever their tension is between the family. He could have picked up many other actors' names. If he has picked it up, it cannot be totally, mindless. He could have picked up Shah Rukh Khan's name. He could have picked up, Alia Bhatt or anybody else who are the reigning actors. And picking up Amitabh. So this is, I think, part of some kind of a strategy. But what the strategy is, I think some of us at least here can't make.
Befuddled. Okay, these are two very. Sorry, complete your point.
Whether it's resonating at the ground level with the people he's trying to speak to, I think we don't know. I would like to believe that he has got very, highly paid PR agencies and communication specialists advising him. Normally, in these sort of courses, they'll do a post audit, a post check to see how it's resonating. And if he's continuing, maybe there's some method in that.
Okay, I want to get brief responses from Jaya and Dilip and Tehseen. Feel free if you want to come in on this point. Since Dilip, I'll start with you. You referred to Bachchan being the fading star. Sandeep Ghosh makes the point that this can't be a coincidence. Everybody who knows anything about politics, and we just played those pictures, we can play them again, knows how close the Bachchans and the Gandhis were. Everybody knows that till they actually fell out. Amitabh Bachchan even contested elections from Allahabad on the insistence of the Gandhi family. Priyanka Gandhi has said to me in an interview that she learned her Hindi from Teji Bachchan. Sandeep Ghosh says this isn't a sort of blundering moment, as Tehseen thinks, as you think, as Jaya Jetli thinks. This is strategy. This is strategy. This is not a coincidence. Dilip and Jaya, quick responses. Dilip, I'll start with you.
I think that Sandeep has a penchant for looking at it from a particular point of view, and that's fine. I think that these are the only names that come to Mr. Gandhi. That is my problem. He needs a factoid check. He needs to have better prep, and he needs to have people who are more with it, not people who are living in the 60s.
Your problem is like he's not even with it in his anger. Jaya Jetli, you want to come in? Yeah, Tehseen, give me a second.
Well,
Jaya, ma'am.
funnily, I didn't find that Sandeep was disagreeing with me. I think he's finding a deeper meaning into why Amitabh Bachchan's name was mentioned. But I don't think the public would even remember that they had fallen out. That was all in magazines years ago. If it is part of his deep mind, I wish that deep mind would come out a bit more clearly at most times. But otherwise, he seems to be skimming the surface, shouting about what is angering him on that particular day. And he's got this caste census in his head. He's got this bug about caste divisions and caste quotas and them deserving more because of their population. And this is, sadly, all of us who've been through the Mandal times are feeling now much happier that the caste oppression is much less because opportunities are greater for them to shed their caste names or maybe skill set or even the way they dress. And I do agree with the Prime Minister that caste is now youth and women and such like. And
I mean,
it's definitely
but to be fair, the Prime Minister says that, but also has underscored his own identity as an OBC member of the OBC
yes,
community.
both are there because nobody can wipe out at least for another 50 years, I think, the whole caste thing in our country, if we're lucky. But what I'm saying is that these obsessions don't translate properly. It gets stuck with saying, why are these people there? The whole speeches I remember him saying, it was, why are there no OBCs and Dalits? Do you see them? But in a big crowd of unknown people, do you know who's a Dalit and who's an OBC? And which movie star there might be from which caste? So I don't know why he's getting things jumbled and making it a very superficial exercise. One quick other point, I do
Yeah.
not believe that good leaders who know politics in their heart and soul need speechwriters. All the people that we have seen in this country who have moved mountains have had no speechwriters. They knew what they were talking about. They had the articulation and they just swayed the crowds with whatever they said, whether it was a
But that was an age before social media. That was an
But
age
social
before
media,
social media. Yeah.
social media doesn't have anything to do with speech writing.
Okay.
When
Okay.
you write a
Okay.
speech, why should people write his speeches for him? Doesn't he have anything in his own
Okay.
head?
one
Tehseen will
small
take
point,
that.
Barkha, just
Sandeep.
before the
Yeah,
half a
Sandeep.
second,
Yeah.
social media is again cruel. They are now playing up same Rahul Gandhi saying a couple of years back, when I meet a worker, I never ask him, "Tum kaun sa jaat ho?" I talk to him as so, and that time he's 2 years ago, he's saying, I don't believe in caste, don't believe in jaat, and today he's saying this. So these contradictions also come through. Public memory may be short, but not that short.
And hence my submission to Jaya Jetli that politics has shifted so fundamentally, maybe. But I get what you're saying, that part of being a good politician or a good communicator is having an instinct for words, for articulation, for presentation. Tehseen, quickly, because I want to play out another very contentious clip of Mr. Gandhi on caste, on media. Go ahead.
So I would like to make three submissions. One, I respectfully disagree very strongly with Jayaji on two occasions. One, every politician, including I heard Jayaji on a show with you when I was fortunate enough to be a part of. George Fernandez ji would write his speech, and she would help him, and others would help him. And all politicians, however, they would write their speeches. They would help. Ma'am,
I
may
think
I just make a point?
I think Ms. Jetty is disagreeing.
And I think getting help. I'm just trying to say
Let
making
me
help,
unmute her.
getting
Let me
political.
unmute her.
Yeah, making
No,
a
one
political
second.
point.
Please, Tessim, let me just say one thing. I need to disabuse you of this. George Saab's written speeches were written when he was going as minister to something like, Singapore or to
Yes.
the USA at a public platform. Political speeches, I never wrote a line. I never looked at it because it was all in his head. He had
All
facts
right.
and
So
figures in his
that's
head.
what you
So
meant.
sorry,
Fair.
you
That's
might
what you
be
meant.
still very young. You don't
Fair
know the
point.
background of
Fair. Fair. No, I respect that, and you meant that, and I have to respect that. So,
Thank
but
you.
what I'm trying to say is, even somebody of that stature, even as a minister, you do require facts and figures, and you don't get a George Fernandez every day. So, I completely submit to Jayaji what she's saying, and I respect that. But what I'm trying to say is, there's nothing wrong in seeking help. We have people like Dilip here who are professionals, and I remember when I started off my career, I did walk up to Dilip at the Claridge's, met him, and I said, I would like help. There's nothing wrong in seeking help. Prime Minister Modi sought help. Barack Obama seeks help. There's nothing wrong in seeking help. Seeking help does not make you small. The point is, how do you convert that help into speaking? That is the important thing. Now, the second part where I disagree with Jayaji, again, humbly, is I think caste is very relevant that Mr. Gandhi is saying, and I think Sandeep is confusing the issue. Mr. Gandhi does not look at caste amongst workers, but the point that Mr. Gandhi is trying to make, from what I understood, is why isn't somebody talented enough to be a professor in a university, in a central university, from an OBC or SC or ST community, not a vice chancellor, when they have the same skill set, or not a chief justice? However, that articulation is not coming through as it's putting through. So as Sandeep is saying, he's being told. Now, I agree with Jayaji on one thing. This is my third submission. I think that Mr. Gandhi needs to give solutions. We know what the problems are. Barkha, I support the Gandhis and I support the Congress because I have these problems with the BJP. Those problems are known to me. How does Mr. Gandhi or the Congress solve it? Does enabling me to vote for the BJP. Now, I am for the Congress. Now, I'm a Congress supporter. Let's say a fence sitter like Sandeep, who may be a Modi supporter but not necessarily BJP. How do you drag a Sandeep onto your side? Unless you don't give solutions. Simply shouting about problems does not get the fence sitters. It gets you the applause in the already converted.
Okay, now I want to pick up one strand of Sandeep's argument. Jaya and Dilip feel that the frustration of Rahul Gandhi is coming out in anger. Tehseen feels this is just poor homework. And Sandeep feels it's deliberate but muddled strategy. Talking about both caste and anger is a reflection in the next clip I'm going to play for you, where a reporter in the crowd is asked to A, name the promoter of the network, and B, talk about the caste of that promoter. Take a look.
मीडिया के आप नाम क्या आपका? हाँ, आप शिव प्रसाद जी हैं. आपके मालिक का क्या नाम है? आपके मालिक का क्या नाम है? क्या नाम है? नाम बताओ. नाम बताओ. ओए, मारो मत यार. मारो मत उसको. मारना नहीं है. मारना नहीं है. नाम बताओ उसका. वो ओबीसी है? नहीं. वो दलित है? नहीं. वो आदिवासी है? नहीं. अरबपति है वो. आपने कभी भैया उसको मारो मत बेचारे को. भैया आप आ जाओ यहां. आ जाओ. डरना नहीं है. इसको बुलाओ. आ जाओ. मारना नहीं है इसको. आओ इधर. इधर आओ भाई.
Okay. The reporter happened to be, we are told, from the NewsX group. His colleague has said that the group is considering filing a case. You can't incite a crowd and then say mat maro, mat maro. And they also have a problem with caste being referenced there of the promoter. Now, Dilip, there is a lot to lament in the state of the news media today. I am certainly no fan in particular of the broadcast media. But this, to make a reporter answerable, it's above his pay grade, right? To make a reporter answerable for what the promoter is doing, to, in a public gathering, single out a reporter, to shout at the reporter and then tell the crowd, if the crowd turns on the reporter, ki mat maro. I mean, this is even more problematic if if we think the reference or the language used for Aishwarya Rai was inadvertently sexist or disparaging. This is much more problematic. Again, in both of these clips, you can see the larger point he's trying to make, but the way he makes it is so problematic. Or do you have a different take, Dilip Cherry?
I fully agree with you, Barkha. It was stupid, and certainly addressing someone with a question which is above his pay grade is actually degrading to yourself. That's one. Secondly, the other question of strategy which Sandeep hinted at. The question we need to ponder is whether Mr. Gandhi's frustrations, anger, etc., is also a tactical way of making sure that the unreported yatra gets reported even for the wrong reasons, in a bit of a twist. So I'm quite sure that
That's interesting.
the reporter
Hmm.
asked a question which perhaps Mr. Gandhi had reason to react to, but also are his handlers making him do some of these things to get coverage which is simply not available to them, thanks to the nature of the way media reporting is happening on everything to do with the opposition.
That's a very interesting thought. Tehseen, do you want to take that? I mean, it was Sandeep's kind of original theory that maybe, oh, we just lost Tehseen there. So, Sandeep, do you want to pick that argument up? Yeah, you need to fix the box, please. And yeah, Sandeep, go ahead. Yeah.
It's a question of, I don't know if they're trying to get media attention. I differ slightly on this. I think this is an exaggerated point that Congress doesn't get attention. Even the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the original one, got tremendous traction. Our Congress gets traction. I think they try to say they're not getting traction. I agree a prime minister gets the traction and somebody, Amit Shah speaking, they get a lot of spotlight. But to say Congress, and especially Mr. Gandhi, doesn't get any traction is an exaggeration, if not incorrect. But the point is, I would stick to what I was saying. This is trying to project an image which, as Jayali said, whether it's muddled thinking or thinking which we don't understand. Somebody had said there is a term now in marketing from USP, there is a term called SSP, which is a self-selling provocation. You have to create something which is different, by which, a Lalu Prasad Yadav will also get remembered for the way he behaves, or a Mamata Banerjee. So you create a different angularity through which you try to hook attention. Now, whether that angularity is working for you or not is a different point. But I genuinely feel, and I will repeat that point, Barkha, think about it. Today, the Congress spokespersons who are appearing on television, compare them with BJP spokespersons. There are some people who are Brazil or this thing. What are the kind of people they are fielding? Where are even the older? Do you even see?
But isn't that an all-round coarsening of the way conversations take place? I don't know if that's peculiar to one party.
There are specific ones. Barkha, today, even in Bharat Jodo Yatra, who are the people being fielded? It's Jairam Ramesh and Yogendra Yadav. Doesn't Congress have any other leaders to speak to the media? Even when in the original Yatra, you at least with a Digvijay Singh or somebody walking with them who have a rapport with the media, etc. But today, all of them are out of reckoning. And only Mr. Khadge speaks somewhere else. His Hindi
but let's be fair. It's not that the BJP spokespeople have never been coarse, have never been vitriolic, have never been aggressive, have never been Islamic.
There are few, but there are lots of them who speak, even if they make a point. So BJP feels, if you see every morning, they have a different person being fielded. There are a couple of people who could be coarse, who do that kind of tutu meme on television. But, otherwise, so therefore, you're on broadcast media. Look at the channels. They have, they're unable to get pro-Congress people, besides a couple of the usual ones who are coming on all television, and they are constantly, on an aggression mode.
Okay, let me actually get Jay at the end and then give the last word to Dilip. Tehseen, we believe, has lost power, and that I'm not making a political comment there, but an actual literal one. So maybe he can rejoin in the next couple of minutes. But in the meantime, Jay Jetli, you were making this point about the irrelevance of caste, which I'm not sure I fully agree with you, because the Prime Minister may say what he does, but the BJP social engineering is very on target. That's the first point. The second point, Mr. Gandhi's comment was as much about media and the state of media as it was about caste. What did you feel when you heard that clip, Jay Jetli? Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. You've muted yourself. Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, but I was just thinking that at this point of time, the way he's presenting it is causing caste division and a kind of victimhood and entitlement at a time when you're just, people are wanting to get a better life. It isn't necessarily all about caste that they're not getting a better life. There are many historical and long term reasons why. And I think suddenly hooking on to something where during Mandal, the Congress thought completely differently. They should have then voted with the BJP, who were wanting that Mandal to come and give the caste reservation. That time they voted against. Now suddenly you think that's a hook because at that time you thought that Nitish and all these people were with you. So that was one point. But the other thing is the aggression with that poor reporter. It would put off everybody in the media. Of course, everybody knows that the maliks of the media are either big shots who want their own way or who protect their businesses or who are linked with some politician or the other. But this is historically so in probably every democracy in the world. And to shout at a reporter in that way as if he was an errant school child in a class and ask him to come, that poor fellow would have been terrified. And then, of course, the crowd got against that chap because the fellows thought they had to be very loyal to Rahul Gandhi and therefore beat this poor reporter up. Now, that kind of thing is extremely childish, it's extremely short-sighted, and it's irresponsible. And I don't think that somebody behaving like that can be positioning himself as a leader. You may have lots of crude people in various parties talking rubbish and punching people or slapping policemen or all these terrible things that happen, but not somebody who's trying to set a standard and lead.
Let me bring in Tehseen.
Not the first time, Barkha, not the first time did he ask about media ownership. He did it even in his first round with an NDTV reporter in Kerala, if I'm not mistaken. Why?
I just find it quite strange to make reporters your enemy. You want to take it up with the owners, right? You want to have a fight, go pick on someone your own size. That is the point that I think I would make. But Tehseen, we were joking that the power tripped was not a metaphor for the state of the Congress. Your power did trip, only literally. Just go ahead, and then I'll take your comment and then give the last word to Dilip. Okay, please unmute Tehseen. Let me do it.
I'm
go ahead.
unmuted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ironically, it happened at a time when you were saying about the power trip. But let me come to the issue. One, in politics. Now, practical politics, right? Your beat reporters who cover you become an extension of the political party in a way it is. It shouldn't be, but that's the way it is. And you know this, Barkha. Congress beat reporters and BJP beat reporters will fight with each other, giving perspectives, and that's how it is. These are your strongest allies. You don't make enemies out of your allies. Two, while I do think the importance of ownership in media, particularly opaque ownership, is extremely important in a democracy to be raised, I think it must be raised in a manner where we can have not just an open conversation as a society, we can have solutions to it. Most of these media owners today, who are media channel owners, I would say like all of them, got their licenses when the Congress was in government. All of them. Not one may have got it in the BJP. All of them got it when Congress was in government. Why are we making enemies of people we gave license to? I'm speaking we because I'm considering myself in that team and playing. These are the people we gave licenses to. So why are we now making enemies out of them? What has gone wrong? Why have we not reached out to them? Fourth, let's come to a larger issue. that really bothers me about these political ramifications. Those around Mr. Gandhi, who I refer to as left loonies or etc. whatever, the non-serious mass leaders who can't win Rajya Sabha elections also without help, they don't make enemies of the owners of the company. Please understand what I'm saying. I'm saying something very deep. They continue to maintain extremely cordial relationships with the owners of this company. So Mr. Gandhi becomes the bait, and that's not good. They don't spoil their personal equations, whoever these guys are. So Mr. Gandhi is fighting a battle without anyone for people who are advising him, and they're not really they're not really his they're not really taking this battle forward with him. So it doesn't come across as there is seriousness. I think what Mr. Gandhi needs to do, again I say, calm down. If Mr. Gandhi is inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's greatest attribute was that Mahatma Gandhi never lost his cool. He never showed aggression. There were several examples where people were very unfair to Mahatma Gandhi. He never lost his cool on that. He would take that smilingly. The toothless wonder would take it smilingly. You take it, you accept that the media is unfair to you. That's a reality. And you move on. You make friends. Build bridges, don't burn. Politics is the art of building bridges, not the art of burning bridges. When you build bridges, when you reach out via the same beat reporter to the owner and say, listen, your channel has been a little unfair to me. May I give my perspective? The owner will reach out to you, but build bridges.
So let me take that to
It's advice
Dilip
I'm giving them. I hope they don't. I hope they don't take me as an enemy. I'm saying this because I've seen some of them around him, and they are so. And I think there's a reason that I think this has turned out this way. Is I think they derived their power out of Mr. Gandhi, and the insecurity of somebody capable coming in, I think, is creating this.
But they're saying at the moment, Mr. Gandhi is responsible for his own language. Whether
Yeah,
Jairam
the
or
buck
Yogendra
stops.
Yadav,
Yeah,
the buck stops
the buck stops.
with him. Dilip, I'm going to give you the last word. You made the point that there is a genuine angst about opposition space. Both Jaya Jetli and Sandeep Ghosh disagreed. They said that the yatra, the first leg of the yatra, was actually widely hailed as something that had helped Rahul Gandhi's image, right? And it went much better for him than this. Now, either it's the second trick, in economics, it's called the law of diminishing returns. You can't do you can't do the same thing and expect the same impact, or it's mistimed, or he's angry because it's after the defeat in the assembly elections, or it's deliberate. You made the point, no publicity is bad publicity. Last thoughts, Dilip Cherry.
I think that in PR, we always say, don't repeat the trick twice within at least the same, year. And the problem is that in this calendar year, you don't do this kind of thing again. Second, anger is not a comfortable emotion when you're dealing with the media. Anger is great when you're dealing with a generic public. That is when you want to display anger instead of directing it at somebody else. And third, the idea that he's learned to a large extent that frontal attacks on Prime Minister Modi are not working. He's avoiding that. But to get visibility and, shall I say, more traction for his mission, what he's doing seems to be working for the moment. I only hope he doesn't leave more people injured than attracted towards him as a result of what this yatra is doing. So the yatra is a necessary thing. It is something that he's managed to convince himself he's good at. Let him do that. But don't expect the same visibility because it just will not happen.
It's not in news. There's one principle: if it's an old story, it's an old story, and the yatra is now an old story. I was going to close. Tehseen, did you have a one-liner there? Let me unmute you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, two liners. I do agree with Dilip that repeating the same exercise does not work. And Bharat Jodo Yatra BJY 1.0 was phenomenally successful. Media covered it well. But where I disagree with Dilip is the idea of getting traction or it's working at this moment. I don't think so. I don't think it's working. You see, the only people applauding this are those who are voting for the Congress or are already voters of Mr. Gandhi. I will vote for Mr. Gandhi, come what may. So it's not working. the question, the test, the cornerstone of this success is, am I getting the fence sitter or those who have voted BJP? I don't think that's happening. And unless I don't get them, I'm not crossing the 18 to 20% threshold to go ahead and form the government and reduce the BJP from the 34% threshold. It is simple maths. How do I go from 20 to 25 and get the BJP down from 34 to say 27, 28, thereby putting me in position to form the government? It comes down to maths, and maths is numbers, and I'm not getting those numbers. Those who have 18% who voted for me at Tehsil are either saying great or are keeping quiet and saying, okay, I'll still vote for the Congress because I don't want BJP.
Well, it's nice to hear that you're, despite everything, you're still going to vote the same way.
Till my last breath. Till my last breath.
You remain loyal, but you're absolutely right.
Some of these new guys who are one day RTI activists, one day cephalogists, I will not leave and go. One day asking Mamta for Rajya Sabha and blaming the Congress and then joining again. I will never go.
All right. Leaving it there, the point is that Mr. Gandhi speaks about the media not covering the issues that matter. But with these kind of comments, he actually achieves precisely that. There's attention. The BJP gets to make a noise about his comments. The media picks that up. There's a very serious situation with the farmers' protest right now, with one death having taken place. We have covered that separately. I just want to say that. But the point is, if Rahul Gandhi's argument is that the media isn't looking at these issues, he's walking into exactly that media trap by making these kind of speeches. Leaving it there to Jay Jaitley, to Dilip Cherry and Sandeep Ghosh and Tehsil Poonawalla. Always a pleasure. And to our audience, see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.